KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger, a public affairs program featuring stories from all over the Central Valley with Sevag Tateosian, 90.7 KFSR.
Welcome to the beautiful CMAC studios in downtown Fresno. You are listening and watching the Central Valley Ledger. Our guests are Valerie and Marla with Relay for Life. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sevag.
Thank you, Marla.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Valerie Bustamonte. I have been doing Relay for Life off and on since 1991. I've been on the committee since 2011 in some shape or form. It's an event I really enjoy doing. I have lived in Fresno since I was 19, so I'm definitely comfortable with the heat we're dealing with. And I work full-time for Coca-Cola. Right now I'm out on medical leave, had to have some hand surgery, so I'm out running around trying to collect fundraising things and just get this event off the ground.
Even when you're supposed to rest, you're running around and doing things.
Yeah, even when I only had one hand.
Last time you were on was last year, and we talked about this event. Cool thing happened last time. You ended up at a different studio and recorded a public service announcement.
That was an interest,
It was meant to be.
It was a boo-boo that paid off.
Yeah. So welcome back again.
Thank you.
Marla, tell us about yourself.
Well, my name's Marla Pettitt. I am basically a survivor and a survivor chair. I've dealt with cancer since I was 21 and battled 6 separate cancers that don't link together, so I'm a rarity. But my way of giving back is to be able to see that one person doesn't go through the things that I go through.
You know, tell us a little bit about your story, because at 21 years old, you don't think that cancer is going to hit you, right? When I was 21,
that's the last thing.
That's the furthest, you know.
Yeah.
You're 21, you get to go to certain clubs now, you get to go out, you know, I was in school, but the last thing on my mind was cancer. So tell us your story.
At 21, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was one where I also am not one for needles, but they stuck me in a mammogram machine and basically pinpointed the tumor with needles. So I had 100 and something needles sticking around the tumor so that they could find it all, because it literally spread out. It had like octopus tentacles is what the doctor had told me. And they had to track it and locate it before they could surgically remove it. But I got lucky, they did, and that was that.
Did you have family support during that time? And tell us a little bit about the people around you, because if my parents or my family found out I had that, I would imagine that they would come to try to help me. First, it would be disbelief, I'm going to be honest. They say, what, really, at that age? Tell us.
To be honest, no. I am a foster child and an adoptive child. My adoptive family was there to a point. I was already in college, so I really wasn't home. Chose not to go back home. Really it didn't affect me much, and that sounds terrible, but it didn't. I was one of the lucky ones that literally, when they took it out, removed the tumor, I was fine. I didn't have to go through chemo. I didn't have to go through radiation my first time around. So it didn't change my way of living at all.
We'll come back to a little bit more about your story, but let's go to Valerie now. And Valerie, you came last year talking about something called Relay for Life. Talk about that event.
Relay for Life is a signature event that the American Cancer Society does. It was basically, for no other term, invented by Dr. Gordy Klatt in 1985. Fresno's been doing it. This will be our 29th year. So we're up there in age of doing it. We will get to celebrate 30 years next year, so that'll be a milestone. And it is a 24-hour event that teams come together to support survivors and to remember those that they've lost. And we're out there camping and giving up sleep for that 24 hours. Committee, more like 36 or more by the time we go to bed on Sunday. But it's to represent the fact that those cancer patients, like Marla, she can't walk away from her cancer. She has it 24/7. So it's a symbolism of them and their struggle and not being able to walk away.
So you're planning for the event now.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you're in need of? Is it like volunteers or?
Kind of a little bit of everything. We had some changes this year because what happens is every year we have to basically negotiate for a location, and it becomes cumbersome. This year we reached out to Fresno City College. Dr. Goldsmith, that is their president, is a breast cancer survivor herself, and she wanted to get more involved, so we got with her, and they're gracious enough to really be working with us big time. And it's going to be held this year at Radcliffe Stadium.
Okay.
And I find that a very good fit. We have all this history with the Relay for Life itself. Well, Radcliffe is huge history for Fresno. It was built in, what, 1926? Has been here ever since. And it just is, it's centrally located. It's a great location with lots of lights.
Easy access.
It's easy access. It's less physical work for us as a committee to put together. And like I said, Fresno City has been amazing working with us to get this off the ground.
Where was it last year? Because last
It was
year
at Hoover last year, which we've had it there a couple years, and it's not a bad location, except that we are hidden. You don't see it from the street. Where with Radcliffe,
Oh, you're
going
gonna-
to see it,
you're
you're
gonna
going to
see
hear
it.
it. We don't have to be as quiet as we are when we're at Hoover because that's right smack in the middle of a residential area. Radcliffe doesn't have as big of a residential area, and they're used to the football games being loud, and I remember concerts there that I'm sure weren't quiet. I'm not sure houses were there then, though, because that was back in the 70s. But it's going to be a great location. So unfortunately, because of those changes, we had to change the time of year. We're typically in May in order to work with them and get it all secured. We had to move it to September, which is going to be September 8th, which to me is like, well, kind of a blessing in disguise because it will be a little cooler.
hopefully a little cooler.
Hopefully.
Although this year,
It's
I
been
don't know, is it?
weird.
I don't
maybe
think
it's
it's going
just
to be.
me, but this year has been just hot.
Yeah. We've never had this. I mean, we just broke a record.
Yeah.
21 days in a row. But not only that, what I noticed is it makes it where we are pretty much by ourselves right here, because then everything, all the other relays are down south. All the ones up here around Fresno were April and May, so it's kind of cool to be out of that mix where we can spread out a little more. And we are definitely looking for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. We can always put them to work. There's a lot of logistics going on. There's a
It
lot
sounds
of,
like it's a 24-hour
yeah,
event.
Takes a lot. to
yeah.
put it
And
together.
we come up with theme laps for almost every lap we have. We have activities going that are, some of them are a little crazier this year than normal, but it's what you do to, one, we have a theme that's been the same theme for a while. It's paint your world purple. And we're going, but you know what? We need a little bit different this year. So we came up with one that says believe in magic. And our thing is we believe in the magic of the research, though it's more time consuming. You don't see it as as quickly.
Yeah, it takes, I mean, but it
takes
time. It's
you
not,
and you have to have people like
Everything is
Marla,
time.
who's actually a case study that has given her 13 years beyond what she was supposed to
Wow.
have.
Wow.
So the research is necessary. It gives us the magic of friends and family support, the community support. If we don't have that magic of all those things together, then cancer just kind of, it's going to take over. And we don't want that. That's what we're trying to stop. So it's been kind of crazy with that, and knowing that the unicorn is kind of the mascot for that statement.
Wow.
Oh, we're seeing more things with unicorn than we ever thought we'd ever see.
There's a lot out there.
Wait, Lucky Charms has a unicorn. You know,
I didn't know that,
I
but
didn't
you know
either. I
what? Here
saw a
we go.
box, and it's like we see unicorns wherever we go, and it's like before, like I said, you never noticed them. I am trying to figure out how to make one look a little more masculine for the boys, because they are all in pastel pinks and purples. But it's just going to add to the event and make it more fun. And to me, part of what also helps the survivors is laughter.
Yeah.
You have to be able to laugh. You have to laugh at yourself. You have to find something in the world to laugh at. Laughter is one of the best medicines out there. And if you don't have it, you can really see it in people.
So I'm going to come back to you so that you can actually walk us through the event, because it's a 24-hour event. So
Yeah.
some people are wondering, wait a minute, what am I going to do for 24 hours? But
Okay.
hold that thought, because I want to go to Marla. So the first time the cancer went away, how did you know it came back, and did it come back in the same spot?
No.
So it came back in a different form.
Every time I've dealt with it, it has been different. I am at 6 separate cancers, and none of them are linked together, so that was odd in itself. My second time around, it was a tumor that basically was eating at my bone in my foot
Wow.
and using it to encase its own tumor.
And how did you know that something was going on? Because some people sometimes say, oh, I have a pain here, but they don't look further.
Don't look past it. I didn't look past it either. It basically got large enough that it was breaking the bone in my foot, which
Wow.
sent me to be, yeah,
Yeah,
it
ow.
sent me to be taken care of, because it literally was damaging more than it should have.
And you said, ow, I
Yeah,
agree with that,
ow.
because
That's what sent
I
me. It
hit
was
my
the pain.
foot on the table the other day, and I was like,
Yeah, and ow was
ouch.
not
Yeah.
the word.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
yes. But this
And
is a
that's what it
G-rated
was.
show,
Okay.
so no, and I bring that, I say it that way because, you know, that must have been a very painful experience
It
for
was. It was painful, but I got lucky again. I mean, they removed the lump, they removed the joint in my toe where it was, and it was gone again. You know, the breast cancer was gone. I didn't have to deal with it after the first time around. And then this one came back, and, you know, then I went through my childbirth, one of my children, my second child, I had cervical cancer, where they chose to want me to abort her. I don't believe in that. As long as she was okay, I was going to be okay.
What a tough.
That one
and
was hard.
I mean, you say that. I have 3 small kids, so what a tough position to put
Yeah.
a mom, a parent in. But you chose to move forward.
Yes, as long as she was okay, I was going to be okay.
And what is the reason? Are the doctors saying why you're getting this cancer and it's coming back so
You know,
much?
part of it, honestly, I don't think they really know. They like to blame the chemicals in everything we eat, the chemicals in everything we breathe. And I do believe that does have a lot to do with it. I really do. In the olden days, there weren't as many chemicals. You could walk to a garden and pick up something and eat it and didn't have to worry about it. Now everything is sprayed with something or the other. Even your organic that claims organic is sprayed
You know,
with something.
And the other day I was reading the labels of something I was going to eat, and I was like, can't be bad for me. I looked at it, and I couldn't even pronounce what the first item was in there. And I thought to myself, what have I been eating for the
Chemicals.
past 5 years?
And the rule of thumb is if you can't pronounce it,
You shouldn't be eating it.
Right. And so, you know,
Which is very true. You know, so in a lot of cases, people don't want to hear cancer. I mean, I got lucky with most of mine. Both the cervical, they removed half of it, froze the other half. I had a child, and she is amazing. You know, I have 2 very beautiful girls.
what a brave choice you made. Some people
it's
would
hard
have.
enough to be pregnant without worrying about someone telling you have cancer on top of that.
Right, and
so
then-
I can't imagine the
And
stress
then-
that does.
Well, and being with child for so long, and then the doctor saying, well, abort, and you not listening. I mean, it's like some people would have listened to the doctor.
Yeah.
And people do. Honestly, people do listen. Me, my daughter was more important. She did not choose to come into this life. She did not choose for me to have cancer.
What a story. I mean, what a story.
So I have two very beautiful daughters, and they have lived pretty much, it was funny because Val the other day said, pretty much nothing but cancer.
That's all they know.
Their entire life, I've had cancer.
You know, we sometimes, I say this, I've been saying this a lot more, we sometimes get upset when we wake up and we're a little tired. And even on the way to the studio today, I was kind of grumpy, and I'm like, but why am I so grumpy? Like, you know, things are good. And we don't realize how challenging some people have it. You know, it's for people who get upset that maybe they didn't sleep well or their coffee wasn't sweet enough or something. There are some real challenges out there in life, correct?
Yeah. There are more than just me, though. You know, yes, I've battled it. I'd do it all over again, every bit of it, because I have met people that are so true and so genuine, which, you know, I had friends when I was younger that turned out not to be so true and genuine. You know, when cancer came into the picture, they left the picture.
I didn't even think about that. It's the relationships that once that word cancer comes in, the relationship.
It's an odd stigma. We were talking about that on the way in, because one of the questions you had sent me was, are we seeing more of it, or are we just talking about it more? And when I was looking at the numbers, it's not that it's really more. It's kind of stabilized, where, I mean, it's still big numbers. What was it? 14.1 million new cases a year.
That's a lot. That's
the
a lot
cases
of
are still
people.
there.
Yeah.
The amount are still there.
8.8 million deaths. Diagnosed 90.5 million over the years that they've been counting it. But there's been big advances. And hand in hand in that, people are now more willing to talk about it. They're more willing to talk about breast cancer, so more women are getting checked. They're more willing to talk about cervical cancer, so more women are willing to get checked. There's more screenings now. When you hit 50, guess what you get to do?
I'm not there yet, so
Look forward to it. It's great fun.
I want to take as much time as I can to hit 50.
And the odd part is, it's not the day of, it's the day before that you're just going, really?
Happy birthday to me.
Oh, yeah. But it's a good thing. You know going in that it's something that is so simple that could save a lot of lives. If they chose not to, could be a whole different situation. And now it's definitely recommended. So there's a lot more, you know, we say the research is taking too long and shouldn't they have come up with something? And I don't necessarily disagree with that. But at the same time, like you said, it's just,
it's
everybody's so different. And what you ingest and I ingest could be the same identical thing. And because of your heritage and my heritage and where we came from, we may never be affected, either one of us. Where in Marla's case, she could have had the same thing and look what's happened. The one thing they always say is we all have that cancer cell, that one cell that'll go crazy.
And I believe that.
Yeah, it's just what triggers it.
So and that's what I was going to ask. So is it just, what is it that we're doing to trigger it to grow and expand?
Every doctor has different opinions, and through the studies, there are different opinions. Some doctors will claim that, you know, your body gets sick, and in trying to fight off whatever that was, be it, you know, pneumonia or something really bad happens, an accident where your body got injured really bad, and is trying to fight to repair that, it's possible that that could be part of it. And I did have those type of accidents.
So where are you right now? Is it all gone?
No, it will never be gone. I have one cancer in 2005 that I was diagnosed terminal with and told I had 6 months to a year, if that.
How, for someone who hasn't been through it, I don't think that, like, I could not really understand what you're going through, Marla. If the doctor were to tell me something like that, I mean, for you to be here talking to us, that's huge. So thank you for being here.
I mean, in a battle, everybody battles things differently. And I have learned you either fight to get through it, to have what you want, or you give up. And I definitely am not one to give
And
up.
there are people who, I imagine, give up. I mean, you're a fighter. I could tell you're a fighter because you're going through it and you're continuing to fight it. But there are people out there who...
There's a lot of people that give
What
up.
advice do you have for them? What advice do you have for the person that's listening to this now and says, you know what, I want to give up?
Honestly, I don't believe in giving up. You know, I've never believed in giving up. And all I can say is find that one thing in your life that means something, that gives you something to fight for, and hold on to that until you can hold on to something else.
Yeah.
Because everybody has something that they're willing to hold on to and hold on for. And if that's enough to keep you going, even for a short time, till you find something else that helps you hold on and keep fighting further.
It's a great advice, great advice. Valerie, let's talk about Relay to Life. Now, it's a 24-hour event,
Yep.
so if we sign up, we can be there 24 hours. Like, what am I going to do there for 24 hours? You walk us through the
So,
process.
You actually start, if you're a team, you actually start by coming on the Friday before and getting your place set up, right? Yeah, you have to set up your camp. Semi. We won't let you set it all up. But we get everything in, so then you can then come early Saturday morning and get your campsite set up. And a lot of them dress them all up and make them crazy. And
That would be such a
that's
cool...
fun.
Like,
Oh, it's so fun. And we've told them, okay, you've now been handed a unicorn. Do something with it. You know, so it should be really fun to see what they do with their campsites. And a lot of people have some huge imagination, so it's great fun. So that's how it first starts. And then at 9 o'clock, we kick off with our opening ceremonies. And we usually have a speaker in the morning that talks about usually their journey through cancer. And then from there, we go into, I mean, right off the bat, 11 o'clock in the morning. You better be ready because we're doing Zumba.
Really start.
Zumba early in the morning.
Wake people
Early
up.
in the morning. And then we go straight from that to all the laps have themes to them, from all the way from, like the first one is, you look marvelous. So that all the kids can come out as their Marvel comic heroes. And trust me, so are the adults.
How fun.
And then we move into crazy things like, oh my God, I just went totally blank. What are some of our laps? We do one where they
ugly
get
sweater.
to take, we call it splish splash, and they get to get each other wet with their water guns and ugly Christmas sweater.
It sounds festive. Is
It is, and that's part of how we look at it. Yes, we're there to celebrate the survivors, and this woman does an amazing job with celebrating our survivors, and we make them feel special. But part of the way that both of us have always looked at it is without our participants, we don't have an event.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to keep them entertained. So we give them themes that they can jump into and be silly and laugh and have a good time. We do competitions. We're doing a kids lip sync this year. And we're doing an adult lip sync.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. See if anybody can do Taylor Swift as good as Dwayne Johnson. I don't know. We do one that represents some of the services that American Cancer Society provides for their cancer patients for free. And one of them for breast cancer is to bring the ladies in when they have lost their hair, to show them a different way to apply their makeup, because if you're not going to have a wig on, the makeup has to be applied different to help you feel your best. And
It's
you
so-
don't learn that
Well,
because you're
yeah,
not
and
used to running around with no hair.
Again, I would have never,
Yeah.
I would have never thought that. The things you learn
Yeah.
as you're going through this
Yeah.
is incredible.
So we have a fun event that we didn't think, we thought, well, maybe we'll have 5 or 6 contestants that'll have the nerve. Dude looks like a lady.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys, they came with dresses and wigs and were just, put it on, put it on. The more makeup they could put on, the happier they were. And they strutted and acted silly and had a good time. There was one
Blast.
kid, how old was the kid that won? 12? I think
wanna
he was
say
12.
12.
Yeah. He won because
Wow.
he's so played into the whole thing. But it's things like that. We came up with one that one of our committee members, she's moved on now, but it was something that she was taught at a leadership council, where it was a team exercise. And it was, okay, here's newspaper, here's tape, make something. So
Interesting.
we took that and made it Project Runway.
Oh, you're having fun with this, I can
Yes,
see.
we have a blast.
We are running out of time on the program this week. So how can people find out more information? What do you need from our audience members?
We need volunteers. We need more teams. We always need more teams. They can find that by going on relayforlife.org / Fresno CA, and they can either donate to a team, donate to already a participant. They can donate to ACS themselves on there. They can volunteer and come out and help us. Just showing up as a participant helps. Just getting the word out about the event helps. So I would recommend everybody come out and experience it because it is a blast. It is great fun. It is a day of recognizing our survivors. And we do Luminaria at dark, which is where all of our bags in honor and in memory of support our cancer patients. And it's very moving, and it makes you really understand what people like Marla go through. And it's just, it's a blast.
It
It's
sounds
really,
like it.
really fun.
There's many ways people can either join us or help. Obviously, we're out there to fundraise and to stop cancer. So if there's companies out there that want to help donate or help, even send a team out to do the same and sponsor them, or if there's people out there that create things or make things that they think would help a survivor in their journey, they can donate those items for our raffles.
Wonderful
There's
things
many
like
ways to do it.
blankets and pillows and that kind of stuff. It's great.
On that note, we are out of time this week on the program. I told you it would go by fast,
I know,
didn't
right?
Thank you, too, for coming on the
Well,
program.
thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate
Thank you
it.
for educating us about Relay for Life. Marla, thank you for your story. I mean, it's you being here telling your story shows me that you're just a strong person.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's
Not
all.
always,
All the
sometimes.
time.
That's
all the
all for this edition of the Central Valley Ledger. Our director is Paul Starcevic. Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this production and every production possible. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you also to those listening to this broadcast on KFSR 90.7 FM or watching this on Comcast 93 and AT&T 99, the CMAC channels. We hope you enjoyed the program this week. Tune in next week to a new edition.
KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger every Sunday morning at 11:30. For a complete program schedule, visit kfsr.org.